with Times Network. You're watching now.
Welcome. I'm Sabrina and you're watching Mirror Now. Tonight itself, in our special broadcast, we talk about the growing number of suicide cases in the country. Now let's talk about what has really happened in Kolkata. Day on May 15th, Vidisha De Majumdar on May 25th, and Manjusha Neogi on May 27th. 3 alleged suicides by 3 young Bengali actors in a span of 2 weeks. In fact, 12 days is what we're looking at. Now on May 15th, Pallavi De, who played the lead in the television show Man Manena, was found dead at her rented apartment in Kolkata. Later, her live-in partner, Satnik Chakrabarti, was arrested. Few days later, 21-year-old Vidisha was found dead. She was known for her bridal makeup shoots. And the most recent case is that of Manjusha Neogi. She was all of 26. Manjusha was Vidisha's close friend and had worked in small roles in the Bengali television serials. In fact, her family says that she was acutely depressed after hearing about Vidisha's death. Reports also say that one of Manjusha's friends claimed that she had even attempted suicide earlier. Now, so what is driving these young budding artists to the edge is the Tinseltown struggle that's making them more vulnerable these days. And if you or anyone you know are unable to cope with the challenges thrown up, so don't suffer alone, reach out is what we are, in fact, telling you on the broadcast today. We hope anyone who goes through these depressive thoughts really goes ahead, talks to people, and also reaches out to people who they think would listen to them. Now, joining me on the broadcast is Gautam, who is the Kolkata-based writer and director. He, in fact, is with me on the broadcast live to actually talk about this particular industry. Gautam, we were just talking about 3 cases of alleged suicide. In a span of 12 days, very, very unfortunate, all of them being reported from Kolkata, all of them associated with the industry in some way or the other. What do you think is driving these young, impressionable actors to suicide? And we're talking, remember, of cases of people who are all of in their 20s, all of these girls in their 20s.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Mira, now for having me in this program. And let me shed some light on some different aspects, because millions of newsprints and millions of times you are spending, a lot of things are written down, programs is happening, but you see what we learn through our education system, not only here in India, throughout the world, with few exceptions. We pile up all the information, be it in mathematics, history, geography, science, computer science, and for higher studies, MBAs, PhDs, everywhere, we pile up information to earn more, to have a better future or better prospect on profession and blah blah blah. We don't learn how to develop our brain. We don't learn how to work on our thought pattern. That's the key. That is what we are missing severely. Not today, for the ages. So let us work on that. Let's put some light. Let's focus on that. Because neurologically, we churn. Everybody churns 65 to 70,000 thoughts. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Please go ahead, Gautam.
So we neurologically we churn 65 to 70,000 thoughts throughout the day. In a 4 hours time. And what we churn? Out of those thoughts, 70,000 thoughts, 95%, almost 95% gibberish, mundane, old, no use. And those thoughts goes to subconscious level. And subconscious, we all know, mainly so-called educated person, we all know that our subconscious runs us. So we need to work on our thought, and those things should be there on our education, in our education system, not the bits and pieces. Proper focus should be there. That's and concerning. That should be the main concern. not just talk about that or some
Right.
psychiatric treatment or some good views or good programs. Is not that. Let us start from beginning.
Mm-hmm. In fact,
That's
Gautam,
my
hold your
small
thought
point.
there. I'll come back to you and we will discuss this further. Let me also introduce the other panelist on the broadcast. Dr. Deepak Raheja, who is the director of Hope Care India, is also joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Raheja, before I go back to Gautam, one important data that we've got for our viewers, in fact, that's something that the suicide rates in the country are only on the rise. We're talking about 800,000 people dying by suicide in a year. That is the kind of data that we're looking at. What is really driving these people towards suicide?
So, I think one is the issue of an increase in suicide per se, and the other is the issue of self-suicide or young budding artists and celebrities or accomplished artists and celebrities who tend to resort to ending their lives. And if we really look at the phenomena of artists and celebrities, I think it's very lonely during the journey to go to the top, and of course at the top it's very lonely. I think the society largely expects them to be emotional divas. So in real life, they are expected to wear that mask and be the emotional divas that they are actually not, because beneath that facade that we are expected to carry all the time, at the end of the day, we are human. We have our own emotional needs. We have mental health issues. And I think it is time. It is an important time where we are more perceptive. We need to wake up to the needs of and importance of mental health issues. I think the whole phenomena of the stigma of mental health, like Mr. Gautam was saying, it's important to identify them. It is not just about psychiatric treatment or psychological treatment. It is not waiting for it to explode and to reach a point where we learn our lessons by lives being lost. It is being perceptive during the journey, looking at red flags, looking at signs, and educating people that it is okay to be unwell. It is okay. The way it is okay and acceptable to be unwell in physical health domain. It is also okay and okay to be unwell in the mental health domain. So I think it is important that we look at the holistic, presentation and importance of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual aspects of health, and we can prime the society so that people are not ashamed to ask for help, and they are not expected to wear that facade and that drama of being.
Of course. Gautam, would you like to come in here? Because do you think it is exceedingly difficult for people, especially actors, budding actors, whether it is in the field of acting or even these models who we are talking about, except the work hours that they have to put up, this particular mark that they have to put up, like Dr. Deepak was just about talking about? Do you think that normalizing talking about mental health is still lacking in the industry?
Yeah, in a way that's very true, but at the same time I should put light on the generally. Yes, especially in case of acting and modeling, those are very vulnerable professions. So there must be attached with a lot of depression, psychology, ups and downs, and a lot of roller coaster ride. So that should be there. But the bottom line is we should able to handle our thought process, how to handle that. And those things not overnight, that should be there through our education system. Education system should provide those things, how to develop our brain, how to deal with our thought. Because we all know, this is a famous saying of Gautam Buddha, the mind is everything, what you think you become. So that's the key. I want to put the light on that.
Right, absolutely.
Our doctor is saying that the spirituality, yes, the spiritual aspect, that shouldn't attach with any religion, rituals, nothing. What is spiritual aspect? So knowing myself and knowing my environment and ecology and these surroundings, and work on that, be attached with that. We are not grateful to anything.
Dr. Deepak, professional uncertainties, how much of how much of this really plays a part, in the depression that we are here talking about. We're trying to actually zero in and ascertain what is really drawing these young minds towards suicide. How much of that plays a part? Because obviously it is a slow climb to the top. They have to really slog it out before they make a mark. Now this is an industry, this is highly competitive. Not everybody really goes to the other side.
Because
I think if we really look at it as a state marker and a trait marker, trait marker as in a certain kind of people who will have a common denominator or personality profile that will push them into extremely competitive and demanding professions like acting per se, or modeling, or some of these celeb word professions which are not only demanding but push them to go on extreme diets, push them to do workout for long unhealthy hours, push them into trying to achieve in a world where the competition is humongous. I don't think we can imagine the competition to ease out. I don't think we can imagine these stressors to go down. But how the mind is dealing with these stressors, how the mind is perceiving these stressors, how we are attuning our coping mechanisms wherein the intra-psychic structure, the thinking mechanism, the coping modulation are strong enough that we become more resilient, and we will not contemplate the worst. I mean, I feel worse than cancer, worse than any other disease is the affliction of ending one's life, oneself. And I think the morbid state that one gets into is extremely painful. And I think as society, it is important for us to wake up and look at that link where we can provide ourselves to be available. So again, I come back to these stigmas, very important because a whole lot of them suffer. But when they seek out for help, either that also ends up becoming a part of a drama. I mean, it's okay for a celeb to talk about mental health issues and an intervention they may have sought, but for people to troll them and to talk about it and to make comments also brings them to a highlight which probably makes them wonder if that was the right thing they did by coming into the public space. So I think society per se needs to handhold and provide that resilient platform where they can talk about their issues, they can reach out for help in the manner that they choose best. But as society, as colleagues, as friends, as family, we don't brush these things away by saying it's just your mood, work on it, or it's just that sense of competitiveness. It's a lot more than that. It is possibly a morbid clinical depression which prompts an individual to and the telltale signs in the preceding weeks would definitely be so much palpable. Only if we were perceptive, if we were willing to recognize them, I think that the life lost could be prevented.
Let me chip in, very interesting.
Absolutely. Dr. Deepak, I'll come to that. In fact, I want you to actually take our viewers through the red flags and what people should, in fact, talk about and start talking to people, really reaching out. But, Gautam, I'll come to you. You spoke about the education system and also the information panning, which is also, leading to many of these suicide and getting people to be drawn down. They weigh themselves down, overthinking, really going for that overkill, not really making do and probably doing better in what they aspire to, and that bogs them down. What can be done as an industry? Do you think there are people who can support? Do you think there can be committees set up which can be support staff, which can help people who are budding artists or even actors who are established, so that they can actually go ahead and know that, there is a requirement of that individual shrink for everyone, so that they can take care of this talking to people and dealing with their insecurities?
Yeah, that can be. And before coming to that, I just want to add on that since I am associated with this industry, I am a theatre and film doer. So this discontent or this depression is very much palpable food for our growing. I mean, that should be there to excel our creative excellence. But if that lead to us to the suicide, that's the disaster that nobody wants. So how to deal with that? And what you are referring, yes, we should have that kind of support system. We should have that kind of, those kind of health clubs and mental clubs and all these things should be there. And obviously I want to focus on our education system, where we are just pile up information. What we learn, we just learn information. But how to develop our thought, how to deal with our thought, we should concentrate on those things. That's my point.
Absolutely, absolutely, Gautam. Before I let you go, I would like to take that final word from you, Gautam, because I'd like Dr. Raheja to stay on with me, because we also need to discuss what is happening in Chennai today, where a family of 4 have to die by suicide. We'll come to that later on the broadcast. But Gautam, before I let you go, do you think there are people in the industry who are that helpful, or do you think because of the excessive competitive society that this has become, this industry that we're talking about, the young people who decide to join it, who in fact take that bait probably to go for glamour, because unfortunately that is the first point towards this industry, that point is lacking for people like Anjasha, for that matter?
Yeah, that's true. Within industry, I'm not sure whether it is possible, because there's a cutthroat competition. There's a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of nobody trusts nobody. So that's there. So the different support system should be there, and self-education. Well, I'm talking about the education system, but the self-education is also very much needed. That's a call of the hour. And how you will be educate ourselves, psychologically educate ourselves. That's the key. Because our psychology is everything. That runs us.
Absolutely.
Not our degree, not nothing. Not our degree, not our wealth, nothing. Not our cars or flats. We are not run by those things. We run by our psychology.
All right. Absolutely, Gautam. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and talking to us about this very, very important thing, something that many people probably who are dealing under. Depression is a word that we use as a blanket term. We don't really go to the nitty-gritties of it and the seriousness of it. We have to just reach out, and also people who think that they are probably not feeling up to the mark, they need to talk to someone, they must go ahead and find that one person who they can confide in and just reach out. Talk to people is what we would continue to say on the broadcast.
With Times Network. You're watching now.